Well, men, we have finally reached the episode where we do a battle royale, and what better movie to talk about than what I think is still one of the greatest ensemble superhero films of all time. As a matter of fact, I'm going to make a hot take right off the gate. I think that the Avengers, which came out to 2012, is better than The Dark Knight Rises. It imprinted itself in the pop culture scape. It became the blueprint for every other superhero movie that came out. I would even go as far as to say that this and Iron Man are two of the most impactful and most important MCU films of all time. And I don't give a fuck what that guy over there has to say, because I know he's going to be fucking fuming when I say that.
Do you even...
I believe every word that I say.
Are you hearing what you're actually saying?
I believe every word.
Alberto, you and I have had great conversations about cinema. What is great cinema?
Yep.
And
this is great cinema.
You are stating that this is a great movie.
It is great.
That it is a foundation to quote unquote Marvel movies.
Please keep hyping it up. Yes. Yes.
This movie is a fucking mess, and it is lived solely by hype, which tells me that you do not understand.
I don't understand cinema.
Movies.
I don't understand cinema, Josh.
You don't. At this point, I
says
think
the guy
it's
who
just
loves
Batman
v Superman.
Yep, I do.
Loves,
but I will admit that
Zack
it is
Snyder.
not cinema. It is a popcorn flick. Okay,
one of the best popcorn flicks. If we're going to talk about popcorn flicks, it exceeded the hype, Josh. It executed on the hype. It didn't just fail. You can't sit here and tell me this movie failed.
A movie based on hype solely does not make it a great movie. There is a difference between the two.
I like your statement, but this is one of the rare movies that does execute on hype. Go ahead, Eric.
Did you say men at the beginning?
Yes.
Planning on stealing something?
No, ma'am, we're not.
Plan on murdering me in my sleep?
What? No.
Where do you get off?
Just a couple of people who totally got off, bro.
Hey, show us your basement.
What? No.
Welcome to Show Us Your Basement. I am your host, Alberto, and sitting to my left is my brother Edgar. Sitting to my right is Eagles superfan Eric. And that motherfucker right across from me is Josh.
Who dwells in the basement.
Who's been dwelling in the basement for a while now. And I think we already know where you stand when it comes to the Avengers. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a special episode of Show Us Your Basement. We're going to be doing something that's a little bit more fun, hopefully, for people who are listening. It is a battle royale. I think we all stand differently when it comes to our opinion on the Avengers. So let's just, before we kind of set the rules here, let's get this out of the way. I think that 2012 Avengers is great. It is Show Us Your Greatness. Edgar, what do you say it is?
Show us your goodness.
All right. Eric, where do you put this?
I'm at the Show Us Your Midness tier, and I'm going to prove that.
All right. I like the confidence. I love the confidence from Eric. We don't need to hear. We don't need to hear from Josh. I think he's sitting there just seething. He's waiting for his moment. And so, a battle royale. In these specific episodes, we are going to eliminate one person. After 2 rounds is when we're going to start eliminating people. There's going to be a tally for each round. It resets every round. It goes from 0 to 5, and we have a referee joining us for this episode. So that's going to be fun. That's going to be interesting. We have someone who's going to be able to mediate our craziness, how messy these episodes get. So, people who are listening, I hope you enjoy this. This is going to be fun. This is going to be hopefully good, chaotic. And without further ado, let's get into the battle royale. Let's get into the first topic for this debate, for this battle royale. we're going to go ahead and hand it off to our referee, our special guest referee. Lady, please tell us what is the first topic for the Battle Royale.
All right, guys. So for round, we have team dynamics versus character balance. Tell me how this either made this movie great or took it all the way to the basement. Josh?
Team dynamic. We're talking about a bunch of characters from previous movies that had to build up eventually into a movie called Marvel's Avengers, which obviously gives the director a reason to give you no character development at all. Okay. We are thrown into it from the start. Okay? Literally, Tesseract starts opening up. Loki's thrown in. Okay? Who is this guy? Right?
That's Captain America right there, Josh.
We got Hawkeye. Okay? He's an Avenger. Keep this in mind, guys. And then he's literally thrown off to the side immediately. Mm-hmm. He's a drone. He's a henchman, brainless. Okay? And then eventually we got Captain America, who comes in, a man lost in time, who obviously is called to action from day one, it feels like, who goes on to a mission to meet Loki, and then he's randomly joined.
Jesus Christ, dude! You're doing such
Iron Man, and then you have Thor, who randomly joins him afterwards.
You're doing such a bad job at introducing these characters.
I'm introducing these characters like darts being thrown at a dartboard, Alberto. But go ahead.
What I liked about how they introduced these characters in the movie, I don't know if you've seen the movie, the way you're describing it, you're just giving me the basic verbal and plot points, but there's a moment when Nick Fury's talking to those like secret, like,
who are those people?
Shadowy people.
Yeah, you don't even know who they are, but go ahead. Keep going.
And they're asking him, I don't know what the exchange was or whatever, and like Nick Fury says, what we need is soldiers. And what does it match cut to? Steve Rogers. Perfect fucking intro. And we get an introduction of Captain America. Up to this point, he feels like he has no purpose anymore. He feels like the whole world has left him behind. And Nick Fury comes with him with the mission, with this whole Tesseract thing, and he says, we think that this could provide clean energy for the world, but it's missing. We need your help to find it. And then Nick Fury leaves, and what is he's like? Do you have any?
Can I ask you a question?
I'm not done yet.
This intro, I wasn't even done either, and you cut me off.
I let you.
But Alberto,
yeah,
how you explained it with Captain America, it feels like a Captain America movie. Doesn't feel like an Avengers movie. So do we have an identity issue with this movie?
No, I think that's the point, though. I think the point is to show you each character's... It's kind of like when you... Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you get the distinct colors for each one. You know who each one is, right? Mm-hmm. That's kind of what the same thing is going on here. You need to... And this is why I like about this film is Whedon managed to perfectly balance, like, even the theme songs for each character. With Iron Man, the music that you hear from his movies. Same thing with Captain America. Same thing with, like, even the fucking Hulk, which you haven't seen him up to this point since the Incredible Hulk. I feel like each character introduction was strong. Mm-hmm. You felt their presence. Josh brought up Hawkeye. I'm sorry, but he's not a main character if we're talking about the main cast here.
He's an Avenger. By definition, Hawkeye is an Avenger, which means that he is a main cast. And he was sidelined immediately. Black Widow was sidelined, and she was given a little bit of glimpse of hope.
Black Widow was not sidelined.
She was given like some scenes of goodness, okayness, that were just not executed well, that made no sense. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind, and we can touch on that a little bit later. But yeah, Thor was just thrown into it on the ship, right?
Well, there's a reason why he was thrown.
Tell me the reason. What did the movie tell you?
He was there to fucking to get Loki off of Earth. That was plain and simple. That was
and if you actually watch the previous Thor movie, the bridge was actually destroyed. Odin had to conjure up enough power to send him to Earth.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, okay.
Josh, the thing that you're forgetting about this here is that this movie, what it trades off in terms of plot, in terms of like complex themes and story arcs, they know that they're trying to balance all these characters in this film, so it sacrifices a bit of its plot to make sure that the characters have
agree
their
with
own
you, Alberto.
moments. Thank
Trying
you for
is
agreeing.
key.
Yes, and I think that it executed it well.
You can try all you want, but it doesn't mean that it was executed well.
Guys, what
Okay,
did
you
you
guys
think?
done? Jesus Christ. All right. As a casual viewer for these movies, yes, I can see why you guys can be confused or like, who's this character? Who's, where is he from? Right? But like, you have to be so deep into it, like the fandom of these Marvel characters. You have to like watch the previous movies, so on and so forth, But people don't have time for that. So like you just said, I'm going to come off what you just said. Like Nick Fury from the beginning slowly introduces each Avenger, like you said, which is great. It's a quick introduction, and like you said, and gives them their theme song from their previous movies and everything. What I'm trying, I think what I feel like with any team, it can be like, even with, it's a weird fucking take I'm going to take here, like even from a comedy body cop movie, they're always going to clash in the beginning. That's how it is here too. Personalities, egos always clash in the beginning. They don't get along, they don't like each other, they don't like the stands they believe in. Then later on they slowly, so that's my topic from
your point.
My point of view. Yes.
All right. Eric?
Yeah, I mean, so I opened up by saying that this was mid, and when we talk about the dynamic, I think, hate to sound like this guy, but Edgar kind of just dialed in on it with the egos. I mean, there really isn't much of a team dynamic. There's already been intros to prior movies, right? So we already know who Iron Man is and Captain America and Thor. They've had their intro solo films. And I think with this movie, it tries to introduce this team while also trying to blend this villain, but they're all kind of just like bickering, and it's all egos, and it's just a bunch of like bullshit. It's a bunch of like meatheads kind of like swinging dick, who's got a bigger dick, who's got more money, and it's really like they have to kind of like use each other as the villain. It feels like we're picking sides as a viewer. I'm having to pick a side when I'm watching this movie. It feels like, okay, I'm team Iron Man or I'm team Captain America because the villain is so terrible that I have to kind of lean on, whatever, hero, whichever one of these characters I'm gravitating towards.
So
if that makes sense.
Absolutely, and I appreciate what you just said, because we're talking about this movie as in itself. We're not talking about Thor. We're not talking about Iron Man and Captain America. Okay, this movie has been out for what, 13 years?
13 years.
13 years. So if I have never seen a Marvel movie, okay, and there are a lot of people out there that have not seen a Marvel movie, and if they watch this movie, they're not going to appreciate it for what it is, because again, we're throwing darts at a dartboard. Okay, you have to rely on previous movies to get, quote unquote, make this a good movie. Okay, we're in a time right now where this is legitimately a standalone movie. Okay, and when you're throwing these characters in, like what we've been talking about, it does not do justice for this movie as a movie in itself.
Are we also talking about the villain, right?
Not yet.
Oh, not yet. Okay, just the dynamic and. Okay.
I don't think there. Real quick, I don't think there's like I feel like through most of the movie, there's not like really an established leader either. All right, this is a team. We're talking about a team dynamic, and I don't think it's that well established.
I think there is one towards the end. I think Captain America is the one that's like telling each one, like, Hulk, you smash, you go do this, and then like he's coordinating. I feel like that's the point. I think you were saying that, like, oh, they're all sort of like a little bit what's the word, like it's jarring. We don't know their characters, all ego. Like, I think that's the point, is that they don't know how to get along yet until midway point through the film, where they have to work together because the threat is becoming much more bigger than just their fucking egos. And I think that's what Whedon does really well with these characters, is that they make you hate them until they make you like want to see them succeed. So to bring it back to the team dynamics,
real quick, let's close out. Do you guys think that the audience can rally behind this team? As a viewer, am I sitting at home and I'm like, yes, the Avengers, let's go. We're going to save the world.
I'm going to say absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Explain.
In the beginning of the movie, they hate each other, right? And they allude and they don't do a good job executing why they actually get frustrated and they hate each other. There's hints of, I don't know, the stone or Loki kind of separating them.
That's
which is extremely confusing.
The movie,
okay,
yeah.
But again, you don't know if that's the thing. That's the case. It has no. It does not do a good job at all explaining that, right? And that's not fair to the viewers, okay, who have not seen the previous movie, because this is a standalone movie in itself. Okay. Second, they do a lot of cheesy jokes that just ruin scenes over scenes that kill their dynamic. Think about that.
I'm going to dismiss that.
That's really a shame. That's going to get dismissed because I couldn't really get behind the team and this, like watching this group, because there was not an established leader. I felt like it was a dick measuring contest, and
this is
there was
the first
a lot
Avengers,
of
by the way.
there was a lot of banter going back and forth with corny jokes
Can we
and like
dismiss that?
insults of who's got more money or who's got bigger ego, or who's got the monster under their bed where they're gonna fucking turn into a
the
Hulk. Yeah, go ahead.
I think you can rally behind this team, especially if you haven't seen the movies. Just like the point I was making, they make a point to really make sure that they introduce every character. They give them like at least 5 minutes, and I think they break down who these characters are, and they do it pretty like cleverly. Like Tony Stark is trying to do this whole clean energy thing. He's very cocky. He didn't want to be a part of the Avengers. Oh, you said that I was blah 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 blah. That's why I wasn't a part of the Avengers. Captain America, he lost his purpose. What does he become? He becomes a leader towards
What's
the end.
the point of the clean energy? You keep alluding to the clean energy. What was the point of the clean energy?
The whole point was, again, like I was saying, they have to sacrifice a bit of the plot to make sure that the characters are heightened, right? And I think that's one thing that you can say about the plot is that it is pretty bare bones, but it's a moving vehicle for these characters to start, coming together as the Avengers.
Okay.
All right, Edgar.
Yeah.
Close us off.
All right. Look, I slightly agree with Josh here with Black Widow and Hawkeye. I don't like. Tell me about who would you replace then, Josh? If he was.
What do you mean replace?
Because you said that they don't offer anything or they don't do anything.
Like who would I replace?
Yeah.
So these movies are structured on Iron Man, Thor, Captain America. Okay, and then as these movies progress, and I don't like talking about other movies, but Hawkeye and Black Widow were constantly in the Avengers. Okay, are they an Avenger in this movie? Did they establish this? I know I'm not technically answering your question. I guess my point is why bring them in if they're just so little?
All right, I'm just saying. I just wanted to know.
Okay, Edgar,
No.
speak to this. Do you rally behind this Avengers team? Yes or no?
I do. Like Josh, I don't want to talk about other movies, but this trilogy or whatever these lead ups to the Avenger films, they slowly gravitate and they slowly grow as people and as a group. Just like I said before, like it always with any original story, with a team, a duo, whatever, they're always going to clash. It's always going to happen. It's a fucking guarantee that's going to happen. Then over time, they're going to slowly. Okay, he's growing on me. He's good or whatever. Towards the again, I don't want to go because you get to, like you say, you have to rally with these people, right? Towards the end of this trilogy, they went through a lot together, and you feel that, you see that, you can rally behind that, So yeah, I do rally behind this team.
Well, that was a spicy round. So let's start with points. So Eric and Edgar, I have both of you guys out of 3.
Oh, okay.
Alberto, I gave you 4 points. And Josh, you sold on this round. So I really like the argument that you said about relying on previous movies. To give you guys some background, I am not a movie watcher. I'm not a fan of DC, Marvel. I know there's controversy around that, but I don't have a dog in this fight. I watched this movie last night, and for me, it was difficult to get into who was who. I have some background knowledge of like Captain America. He died, and then he resuscitated or something. I don't know what the beef is, if there even is a beef between these characters. So I was trying to kind of understand the movie and connect, like, how do all these characters connect? Is this the first time that they're meeting? Have they been involved in other movies? I don't know if the movies were made on each individual character before or after the movie. I don't know what came first, so full transparency. And yeah, like with Iron Man, I was like, what is this guy? What's his beef? Is he trying to be rich? Is he like Elon? Wants more money? What's in it for him? So congratulations, Josh. Alrighty, let's continue on to round 2. And just a reminder for our listeners, this is elimination. So the lowest scoring person is eliminated and they get sent off to Josh's corner, basement corner. And so the topic for round 2 is the strength of the story, the plot, how the story flows, and pacing. And Josh, since you were the winner of our last round, you get to pick who starts us off with this debate.
Eric, start us off.
I really appreciate that. Thanks, prick. All right, look, this movie feels it feels a little uneven when we talk about the plot and the pacing, because they're trying to blend 2 stories that feel very messy. So you're trying one half of the story with the Avengers, you're trying to kind of navigate their conflicts, and it's kind of like a never-ending conflict. And if you're somebody that's never watched a Marvel Avengers movie, you might feel a little confused on who is who, honestly, with kind of when talking about the dynamic of the characters. I don't mean to go back, but that's part of the story in the beginning, is having to kind of unweave this mess of characters trying to navigate who's who, and then I feel like they kind of force the story of Black Widow in there a little bit, and I just think she's a very redundant character. Not really sure, like, there's nothing dynamic about her as a character and how she really fits into the story. So and then you got this thing with Loki and the Tesseract, and you don't really know who he's interacting with out in the cosmos. He's kind of meeting with this like shadow council with this powerful, with the Tesseract, which is like a powerful energy source that is very valuable to the universe. And I guess for me, I don't really know what his connection is with that group and what it means and what they're really trying to do and what the ultimate goal is to conquer Earth. There's really no, other than his own selfish, I guess, quest to just have people kneel to him, bow to him. That's it. That's kind of what I take from it. This guy just wants the power and for people to kind of kneel down to him. And to me, there's just nothing about that speaks good or great. It's just sort of boring, bland. Put fucking SpaghettiOs on the fucking oven. It's boring, dude. Just go to the grocery store, pick it off the shelf like anybody would down at the fucking street at the King Supers.
Go ahead. It sounds like you want to say something, Art.
Yeah, I think confusing isn't better. And so for this movie to have had a more complex story, it would have collapsed under its own weight of having a more difficult story to tell. This movie goes for characters, first and foremost. That's why it's called The Avengers, and I think that it executes that really well. If it had gone for a much more confusing story, it would have went a la Batman v Superman, right? So this movie had to make sure that it had all these characters come together. And that's really what this movie's about. It's not about the cube. It's not about just the Tesseract. It's about whether these people can put their bullshit aside and save the world. And that's what it does perfectly, I think. And it does it in, like a 2-hour runtime? Mm-hmm. I think its pacing is really well done. We talked about character introductions already that did it perfectly, and it sets up the tension for the second act, which is what we're watching right now. The rising tension, seeing these characters sort of drift apart, become more divided. This scene right here is a perfect example of that. And then Act 3, they all come together, and
for the listeners, what scene are you talking about?
the scene with Black Widow and Loki. So Black Widow's trying to extract information from Loki, and Loki, they're trying to figure out what his game's at. What is he trying to do? Well,
Alberto,
I'm
what
not
made this
finished
scene
yet,
so
Josh.
good? What made this scene so good?
I was
Okay?
about to get there, and then you just cut me off.
Solely because it was taken from another movie called The Dark Knight. I want you to think about that. We have an interrogation from Loki and Black Widow, which originated from Batman interrogating the Joker. But keep talking, man. You're doing a great
So they're
job.
trying to, I don't know what the fuck he was talking about, but so what Loki's trying to get at is like, who's the one that's most unstable out of the group? It's Bruce Banner. He's trying to get under his skin, and he's influencing the Tesseract to get into fucking the Hulk's mind, into Bruce Banner's mind, which is what he's capable of doing. That's his whole point. Sorry, but
how
I'm
is
getting...
he able to do that?
That would be for another topic about how the villain, Josh. We're on the story here for a second. Can you just please fucking pipe down?
I would just love to hear more details, Alberto. You're doing
I'm
a great
explaining.
job talking about things, but I want the explanation. But keep doing you, man. You're doing a great
Alberto,
job.
why is this plot great? This movie's greatness. Why is this plot great?
I think the plot is great because it highlights all these characters coming together to save the world for the first time. It's the first Avengers movie, and I think that it does it really well. It makes sure that the audience knows where each character stands, so that you know where they're going to go from this movie going forward. This is the Avengers in its infancy stages. This is them trying to work it out. This is them trying to be an ensemble team. That's really what this film is about. You cut away through all the bullshit with the Cube and the Tesseract. It's really about a team trying to be a team and saving the world. And I think it does it really well.
So there seems to be this divide where you are saying that this is about the characters and kind of the foundation of the next movie, setting it up. Well, Eric is saying that there's two different stories. You got Loki with the stone and the energy. Is that correct? Am I understanding that?
Yeah, no, that's correct. Eric is hitting on those points too, but I think that he's a little lost in the sauce. I think this is something that Eric does. He kind of just gets sidetracked on like little, things that he's like. I don't know. It's a lot of pick and choosing. Is nitpicking.
It's just what I see. It's just what I see. And since I'm in the mid tier, I think I need to hear what the next tier good would be, because I feel like it could almost be blended together in some dynamics. So I just want to hear what Edgar has to say.
To you, what makes it good, not great?
Yeah, because he's over here glazing. Alberto is. Where are you at here? You're a tier above me going into this.
Well, for me, the flow for the movie is perfect. Like you said, it's 2 hour runtime. Established the characters, the villain, the plot of like the Tesseract and everything. To me, it just feels like a original comic book story. I don't think he's going to agree with that because he's. Yeah. But
don't worry about Josh. He doesn't exist right now.
But like I said, yeah, to me, it's just like if you go in with the intention of a comic book movie, and go in like to what they're trying to tell you, and give you, it's like, yeah, okay, I'm in it, Yeah, like this is a good, like you said, it's a good scene how right here the Tesseract is gonna like
start influencing
each character's mind a little bit. So it's and then there's a big fight going on. Like it brings you like back into what it really is. Like I said, it's a comic book movie.
Okay. Josh, why is this trash to you?
So when I think about what defines a great movie, okay, great storytelling, great character development, great climax. This movie has none of that. Okay.
Can I ask you a question, Josh?
Sure. Ask me a question.
Is it fair to say that this movie had a lot of characters to juggle and therefore it had to kind of sacrifice a little bit of the plot?
Absolutely, but that doesn't mean that it has to be a good movie, right? Are we saying that this movie should be handicapped because of all of the things that it went through and had to do to accomplish
No, I don't
making
think
this
it's
movie?
handicapped at all. I think it shines because of it. Because it.
I disagree. All these characters are thrown into a movie. Okay, the dialogue is extremely basic and underwhelming. They give you highlights of great moments in their dialogues, and they simply kill it by
Can you give
jokes.
me an example?
You're humans. You're all so tiny. Or what does Captain America say? I got that joke. Okay, like literally, these are serious moments.
How does that have to do with the plot, though?
Dialogue carries the plot.
But
That's how it
all that you
transitions.
said
We're
had
also
nothing to do
talking
with the
about,
plot.
does the movie transition well? Does it pace well?
Can you give me some
No.
highlights of good plot, like of the moments that you think were good?
No, because I think it's in the basement. Why would I do that? Why would I say that this is in the basement and just tell you how
you
great
said there's
this movie
highlights
is?
of good moments.
Right?
You said there was highlights of good moments.
There are some serious arguments
Uh-huh.
between Tony Stark and Captain America or the Avengers in a room when
Yeah.
they're in the ship
Like this?
that are literally killed by quick
What banter
witty
is happening right now?
I'm not here to talk about the
actually
scene. I'm here to talk about the scene.
All right,
Okay?
all right.
Okay,
Josh. Why is there a plot? Does a plot exist? Tell me that.
There is a plot. To say that this movie does not have a plot is not fair. Okay, every story has a plot. Now,
What about the plot makes you say this is basement?
I've said this before, and I'll say it again. This is a movie that stems from
Hype.
laziness.
Hype.
Okay, laziness. What was the other one, Eric? I had a brain fart.
I don't think
lazy.
you're supposed to lean on Eric for this.
Well,
Josh,
it's
you're on your
lazy
own
and
here.
dumb.
It's lazy and dumb. Okay. That scene, yes, it does have elements of goodness
Yes,
in it.
thank
I
you.
do say that.
Thank you.
But the thing is okay, that stone is manipulating them. Okay. You have Thor who knows about these gems. He's talked about them in the past. Why didn't he explain that this this stone was manipulating them? No one ever says anything about it. Okay. And then when we talk about the Loki and Black Widow scene, it was during the time of the Dark Knight. The Dark Knight was received so well.
You're talking about
that
another
they had
movie,
to
Josh.
do it too.
You're
okay?
talking about another
the
movie
climax
now.
of the movie with the laser going into the sky has
yeah.
been done multiple times. The Amazing Spider-Man, Revenge of the Fallen, right? It's the same climax, right? And it's just not original, okay? And it's just pieced together for what they have simply because I'm going back to what I said in my first argument, because of the buildup from previous movies. And for you to say that, like, oh, the characters are so astonishing, they're so great. Yeah, if you read comic books and you enjoy comic books, I know who Thor is. I know who Captain America is. I know who Iron Man is. Okay? So, yeah, to be fair, yeah, these are great characters.
I just want to point
pulled
out
from the comic books.
I just want to point out that I never at one point said that these are superheroes. These are people that are coming together to figure their shit out to save the world. I'm going under the assumption that people haven't seen these movies. And these are good written characters. They're not just superheroes who are reliant on their comic book counterparts.
For you, so
Okay,
what about
Josh.
it?
Question. So what do you think about the pacing and how the story flows?
The pacing is extremely
Good. Thank
slow.
you. Thank you.
Okay. It goes from one piece. Let me paint you a picture. Okay. It goes from an introduction of your 3 to 4 characters, and then it goes into Europe, and then it goes into the ship, and then it goes into New York.
You just explained the 3-act structure in its most basic form.
It's moving.
That
and
is
moving
what a movie
and
is.
moving and moving. Okay.
No,
I think it's a
you're-
movie.
The thing that you are
It's a movie.
omitting from your brain is that there are things that are happening in between all of that. The character development. Each character has their own
There
highlighted
is no
moments.
character development in this movie, Alberto. We talked about this from the previous topic. Okay, the character development was in the previous movies.
Guys, bring it back.
All right.
Because I know that this could be a question that's asked of me, is like, what is a good character moment that elevates the film's plot? Is that fair to say, or is that going to be its own topic? Lady.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
Can I highlight a moment of these characters, as Josh was saying, is lacking, as how it raises the film's plot? Is that okay for me to talk about?
I'll allow it.
Okay. There's the moment when Captain America and Iron Man are talking, they're arguing in that helicarrier. The one we just missed because this guy was rambling on. And it's the power struggle of who's going to be the leader, who's going to lead. And it's not even just that. It's about Captain America being like turning on each other. It's like, who are you really? You take away the suit, you take away all that, who really are you? And they starting to find the cracks within each other. And then it's not until the third
serious moment, Alberto, that was changed to put on the suit. Put on the suit.
Is because it's like I was saying, they're realizing that the threat is looming and it's much more larger than their bullshit. And it's not until the very end where they realize that, oh, we make up for each other's weaknesses. When we come together, we become more powerful. We become more stronger, and that's how they manage to save the world in the end.
Yeah, I feel like to counter that a little bit, I feel like there's just this over-reliance on the spectacle, though, at the very end of the movie. It is like this mass destruction of New York City. Mass destruction. And we've got these kind of like brain-dead characters coming out of the sky, taking over the city and just kind of wreaking havoc. And there's really just... They're just like stormtroopers, just getting smashed and shot, and it's like 5 people doing this. But you're kind of masked by just these massive creatures flying through the air, breaking down buildings. The Hulk is smashing. It's just like you kind of get lost in this endless, like repetitive, recycled like fight that is just
I don't know, because I like
impossible. It's like impossible to wrap your brain around.
I like to counteract that, I feel like there's that moment when Hulk smashes through the building and he's like destroying the Chitauri and stuff. And I like how the camera just like cuts from him and then it cuts from Hawkeye's perspective and how he's taking out enemies. And it's like they managed to bounce off each character's moments.
Yeah, but I mean, he's
so
just sitting there shooting like an arrow at people.
And it literally
So mid.
took an hour and a half to get to that great transition with that slow, unnecessary pacing from shot to shot to shot. So an hour and a half to finally get to good shot. Good
Again,
pacing.
I feel like it's because you're watching a different movie here, Josh. I feel like there are things here that you're just not... You either just don't give a fuck about, or you're really like willfully saying that you're just like, it's not good. There are moments here that build up to that moment.
Give me a moment.
I just gave you a moment. With
All
Tony.
right, we are at a moment.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
All right.
All right, so I have scores for round 2. Reminder, the topic for this round was pacing, strength of story, and story flow. Okay, so Edgar. Sorry.
That's okay. It's okay.
You are our first elimination. Sorry, you get to go to Josh's corner.
My brother. My own flesh and blood. I'm just kidding.
Bonesaw wasn't ready.
Alberto and Josh, we're both tied at a solid 3. And our winner for this round is Eric. I feel like he spoke to kind of like the lack of a strong plot where there was two stories. There was really no connection. It was kind of bland. I think I do agree with Alberto. There was a strong setup probably for the next movies where you get all the characters and you see their conflicts. And I think it does set it up great for the next movies, just not for this movie to stand on its own. Okay, so we're on to round 3. And for round 3, we will debate the villain, Loki. You guys are going to convince me why Loki is basement. Josh, is he basement? Eric, why is he a mid-villain? And Alberto, is he greatness? Is he Marvel's greatest villain out there? And also speak to his reasoning, his why is he a villain? What is he trying to accomplish? And Eric, since you won our previous round, you get to pick who starts us off.
Well, since I'm kind of in the mid, kind of down near the bottom of the mid, I think I really want to hear Alberto's take on this character. He's been very passionate about this movie, sharing his. He's had a very strong opinion about why this movie is in greatness, which I appreciate. So I'd love to hear your take first on Loki as a villain.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Eric, for giving me the chance to highlight why I feel Loki is one of the best MCU villains. I think he works perfectly for this film.
Best?
One of the best, yeah. I think he's one of the best.
Okay. Thank you
The
for clarifying.
bar is very low.
I think for this film, he serves the purpose for the villain for the Avengers, especially for a team that's inexperienced, for a team that is still trying to figure out what they're doing, like, you know, what's like how they're gonna become a team and stuff like that. It's funny because I feel like this film, you could easily say, well, Thanos just could have just come in and just wiped them all out. Could have just ended it quickly. But I feel like Loki sowing division between these characters and making them destroy each other, I think that is a lot more smarter than having just some brute villain like a Bane or like a Thanos come in and just destroy them. I think that's what makes his villain so intriguing, is that he's not strong. He's not like this very intimidating character. I think what makes him such a great villain is that he's able to manipulate these characters. That's really that's what he is, right? The god of mischief. So that's what he does. He fucks with these heroes and he almost makes them like destroy each other, like Thor and Hulk. The strongest Avengers among them almost kills each other. Like, I think that is so smart to make these characters fight each other instead of just straight up having the villain show up and just wipe everyone out. That's what's smarter. Also, I will say he's not really beaten. It's just that the characters outgrow him and all of his tricks just stop working at the end. So you can't really say that they beat him. I mean, yeah, Hulk does like fucking smash him into the ground, but it's because those tactics don't work anymore. He is still a villain that ends up existing throughout the entire MCU, even post Avengers. That's what makes him such a great villain.
So he wasn't a villain at all, is what you're just saying.
No, he's still a villain.
So the fact that he comes in,
what from that did you hear that he wasn't a good villain? Josh,
outgrown by his
can you answer my
superheroes.
Question? Can you answer my question, please?
Unfortunately, that just doesn't make sense to me, because here's the thing, okay? And I apologize, I don't have my sources in front of me, but there's a list of greatest villains of all time, okay? On this list, you have villains such as the Xenomorph is on there. The Predator is on there. Sephiroth is on there. Heath Ledger's Joker is on there as well. And what do these villains have in common? Okay,
Can I tell you what they don't have in common? Their own TV show. Loki has his own TV show. The only villain that has his own TV show.
Actually, so thank you for actually
no, but that
bringing
shows
that
his
up.
Growth.
He's not a villain.
That shows his growth.
You're actually
that's
proving my point.
How
Objection,
iconic
Josh.
he is.
Josh. Okay, what makes a great villain? And why is Loki not a great villain?
Watching the world burn without reason.
Is that not what he's doing?
And that's what actually I wanted to bring up these other villains, like the Xenomorph.
Which I don't think is
the Predator.
fair, because I'm staying within the Avengers.
The world
Alberto.
burn. Okay. So let me kind of paint you a picture. Okay. You don't know this going into the Avengers, but Loki is jealous of Thor because Thor is in line to rule at Asgard, and he is jealous of being overshadowed by him. So he goes into Avengers wanting to rule Earth. Okay. Throughout the entire movie, I would say 45 minutes, when New York is starting to be attacked by the whatever they're called, the stormtroopers, right?
Chitauri, actually.
You know, Thor confronts him, okay, and says, look what you've done. Is this how a king rules? And then you actually see Loki's face, and he regrets what he is doing. Okay, this is not a villain. This is an individual that is troubled. Okay,
can I say something?
That has issues that can change down the road. Okay? A villain by definition is Thanos. They come in, they rule, they conquer, and they cannot be swayed to go the other direction. Loki is swayed to go the other direction. Okay? And I don't want to just talk about Loki. I also want to talk about the Stormtroopers. The Chitauri.
So if I'm understanding you correctly, you're saying that Loki is soft.
He is extremely soft. He is troubled. Okay? You know, if you look at this list of greatest villains of all time, these kill without remorse. They don't regret what they do. Okay? And they have no reason, right? And yes, reason is defined, but to your point, he's so soft that he backtracks and regrets what he does. The Chitauri, okay, the final scene, okay, they're this alien race, okay, and they are beaten by a nuclear warhead that is sent into space by Tony Stark that kills the mothership, that then kills the rest of the planets. That made no sense to me. Again, going back to lazy writing, we're just going to wipe out the entire soldiers by a nuclear warhead in another area of space, in a portal. Okay? That is extremely lazy. That was just a way to just end the movie and that they won. Okay?
So are you saying there's two villains in the story? There's this, not Stormtrooper, what are they called?
Chitauri.
The Chitauri,
Yeah.
and then there's Loki.
Yeah.
Am I understanding that correctly? You're saying
absolutely.
there's two villains in the story.
I would say that there is two.
So
right?
then, if you have two villains, do you have a villain? Does it work for the story?
No, it does not.
I mean, if there's two, then is there one?
Oh, that's a good argument. That's a good argument. That's a
Eric?
good question.
Eric?
Yeah, I okay. We can get philosophical about the Chitauri and whatever. I listen, Loki. I'm listening to Alberto's point about he is the god of mischief, and then I start to think about his mischievous ways, and they kind of come across weak. He uses the power of an energy source to then turn Hawkeye into a villain short term, which to me kind of takes away a little bit away from Loki himself. So they use the weakest character in the Avengers, one of the weaker characters in the Avengers, to try to like add to his kind of like his villain companionship. I don't know what it is. I can't figure it out. It's just soft. It's soft. There's not a lot of mischief going on there.
So I appreciate you bringing that up, and I want to piggyback that. Going back to what we talked about earlier, was that he's the god of mischief. Okay, he's causing mischief. Okay, we assume, the movie alludes that when the Avengers are fighting each other on the ship, okay, that the cube or whatever, the Tesseract, is manipulating them.
Well, okay.
But we don't know that because maybe it was the god of mischief doing that.
Let me stick to right. But let me stick to Loki in this movie because he's not tough. There's nothing gritty about him. He's kind of a pretty boy. I understand he wants to rule Earth, but he has no plan, no plot. He just wants them to kneel to him because he's trying to like feed his ego. And there's nothing like blowing me away about that. It's boring. It's bland. It's in the middle. It's played by a decent actor. That's okay. But there's nothing about him that is intimidating. He wears like a very goofy garment. There's nothing that reeks villain about his outfit. Maybe his helmet with the horns, and they're trying to do maybe a little Lucifer thing where he was cast out of Asgard. So they're kind of piggybacking off of an already established villain, the villain of villains, and it's just executed soft. It's right in the middle. He's just kind of, this is leaking. We're gonna patch it up with Loki right now. I understand where you're coming from, Alberto, where we're kind of like, okay, we got to give the Avengers this soft.
I never
villain.
said
that's kind of how it sounds like it's coming
that's the
across,
thing.
and I think you could have done a little bit better, making him a little bit more. Give him a little more grit, something intimidating. He's not an intimidating villain. He's just right in the middle.
He's not an intimidating villain. I think that's the point, is that he's a villain that manages to cause so much havoc, and you know that he can just be easily defeated. But the fact that he's able to not even be touched until the Hulk smashes him to the fucking ground in the end is really impressive. Like you were saying earlier about how, like, it seems like they're the villain and Captain America and Iron Man, like, yeah, the point is that they're sowing the vision to really test the strength of how they're going to end up becoming the Avengers at the end of all of this. I mean, we're also forgetting the fact that he mortally wounds Agent Coulson, which also is like a turning point for these characters to end up becoming like, shit, we really do have to put our bullshit aside and come together and fight this fucking guy.
Real quick, I'll let you go back. I'll let you get the mic. That was his one moment in the movie where you were like, oh, wow, that was his one villain moment that felt like, okay, he had a little balls there, but he takes out the, I don't even know who that guy is. He takes out the
he's one of the SHIELD agents.
He just takes out a low-level SHIELD agent, and they turn it into...
Well, he's not a low-level SHIELD agent. He does become an important character later on in the movies. And
that's his shining moment.
And I'm going to also backtrack and state that good scene was ruined by humor by Agent Coulson shooting him and then saying, oh, that's what that does.
Yeah, but I don't think that was a moment that was killed by the tension. I think it just still... let you know that this is a film that is going to have these moments sprinkled throughout. I don't think it doesn't detract away from that moment. Besides that, Eric was asking, like, what's another moment besides that? The fact that he manages to fuck up Hawkeye so bad that even in the sequel, that still affects his, like, psychological, like, his mind. Like, that's how much he's like got into him, like got into his fucking head. But just like these moments right here, like, this is it. This is when they're becoming the Avengers. This is when you're seeing them actually like rebuilding their armor, gathering their strength to take on Loki, who still at this point is now going to actually see his endgame through.
Can I ask you a question? Mm-hmm. Do you think Loki ever had a chance?
What do you mean a chance?
To win in this movie?
I think he knows he didn't have a chance to win. That's why he...
So by definition, he is never a villain, really?
No, thank you for bringing that up. He is still a villain because what does he do? He lets those Chitauri come through, and it's almost like, fuck it, that's it. Kind of like what you were saying, right? Where you were saying that, like, I just want to see the world burn. Is that not what he's kind of just doing there? He's just letting chaos erupt through New York and letting destruction just happen.
So if you want to be king, ruler of the world, and you decimate it,
but see, that's the thing, Josh. That's the thing, though, is that he has a different definition of what a king looks like, and that's what you were seeing here. Is that he's a king of destruction? He's a king of fear. He wants to instill fear into people, and when Thor tells him, like, "Look at what you've done," there is a glimmer of like regret, but at the same time, it's like
so the Avengers were dealing with a immature, spoiled little brat.
What was that?
Spoiled, immature little brat is
Loki?
what the Avengers were dealing with.
And the fact that he managed to almost destroy them and not have Thanos involved was really impressive.
He never had a chance. You know, when I look at, and I hate to go to another movie like The Dark Knight, but
why do you keep bringing other movies?
Because I want to talk about the definition of a legitimate villain. A legitimate villain has a chance. They show you a chance where, like, oh my God, this guy has a chance to win. That never once happens in this movie. There's never a chance in this movie where it gives you like, oh, Loki has them by the balls. Never.
When Hulk and Thor are fighting in the helicarrier, that's like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like a bull in a china shop. That's what he managed to do. And they almost got destroyed there in that scene. He basically did win. He's still untouchable at this point. So that's why I think he's a great villain. I say he doesn't even get touched until the very end, because that's how good he is at manipulating other people and bending them to the will.
Well, that was a tough round, and I don't know what the listeners are thinking, but for me, it was very difficult. All three of you guys made really, really convincing arguments. I'll start off with the winner. Eric, you got a 5. I think you did a really good job explaining what makes Loki weak. He's not tough. There's really no plot. He's disorganized. It's very ego-driven. And it's just like this little brother syndrome going on. And Josh and Alberto, You guys made really good arguments. Alberto, you said something along the words of he works for this film. Him not being strong works because the Avengers are not where they need to be. They're becoming a team and they're not prepared for that, but this is kind of what brings them together, and it's a stepping stone. So that just almost had me. Wow. Almost. You're so close. And then Josh, bringing the sibling rivalry into this, and just speaking of the Chitauri and how seems like there's two villains, and there's really no one is a convincing villain. So both of you guys get a 4, which means we will need to go into sudden death.
All right.
Okay, so since Josh and Alberto are tied for being eliminated, we will do a sudden death match between these two. Just a reminder that Josh is Team Basement and Alberto is Team Greatness. So the topic for this is going to be cultural impact versus actual quality. So the Avengers changed the superhero genre. But does the cultural impact automatically mean greatness? Right. Josh, let's start us off.
So being that this movie was unfortunately not as great as most people think, it did set the bar extremely high for when it came out, to the point where movies, cinema, unfortunately took a plummet. Okay? When Avengers came out, because of the hype.
Here you go again, using the word hype.
The expectation became unrealistic from the viewers. They wanted more, okay? They wanted more superhero movies.
That's the logical
it was a roller coaster of give me more, okay?
Including your favorite Batman v Superman behind you there.
Absolutely. Yeah. Right? So it is I apologize. I hate to bring up other movies, but I think it's fair for this state is that it didn't give movies like Batman v Superman a fair shot because of what the Avengers did.
Oh, it did.
Right? They wanted what Avengers was doing. Batman v Superman was too dark. There was no humor. Why can't they do what Josh Whedon was doing? Not just superhero movies alone, but non-superhero movies. There was a time where movies were coming out and people were overlooking them and not appreciating what a lot of these other movies were doing. Horror movies, action movies, thriller movies. A chance to kind of show what they were doing. Because all we wanted was this.
First off,
what is this?
They wanted the formula of Marvel movies. The rise of a superhero, okay? The rise of a villain to mirror them, okay? To have a suit that was just like them, okay? And then just to be beaten at the end. They did it in just about every Marvel movie, okay? Not Avengers, okay?
I think Josh is falling into a trap of, without knowing it, saying that this movie is great because no other movie after it could execute it just as well, is what you're saying. You could almost say that Batman v Superman was all hype, and it also didn't execute it really well. $1.5 billion. That's what execution does, not hype. And that's what this did. And it laid out the blueprint for other movies like Batman v Superman, all these other superhero films. It gave them a fair shot. It's just it wasn't executed well. And why? Studio interference. This also had studio interference, if you believe it or not. This had unrealistic expectations, and it still fucking met them. It crossed the fucking billion box office numbers.
This movie got a 95% rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
And it still stays there.
Why?
Because
of course it doesn't change. Get out of here. You know, why is this movie rated 95%
here?
Because we're talking about the cultural impact that this movie has done.
And
it did not allow one of the greatest directors of all time, Martin Scorsese, came out and stated that superhero movies are not cinema. Okay, they are by definition a popcorn flick. Okay,
Well,
unfortunately,
popcorn flicks is what gets people in the movie theaters. That's what makes money,
it was
baby.
a cash grab,
And that's what sustains the legacy of MCU. That's why we got Infinity War. That's why we got
It just shows
Endgame.
how lazy cinema got solely because of this.
It didn't get lazy. It got better, Josh. Before this, you didn't have movies like Avengers. You had movies like Fantastic Four.
What's happening right now,
failed.
Alberto? What's happening right now?
We're not talking about what's happening right now.
Tell me what.
We're talking about what's happening with this movie and the cultural impact it had. We're not talking about what's happening with the Fantastic Four.
What is happening right now is still part of culture, of the cultural
which means
impact.
it had cultural impact.
Superhero movies are dying.
No,
and
they're
we're
not.
getting sick of it.
Then why are we getting
to the
Fantastic
point where
Four
we're
next week?
allowing movies to come out and for people to actually enjoy them. Sinners is the definition of that. F1 is the definition of that. Okay? There are several movies that are coming out now, thankfully, because superhero movies are dying.
No,
Okay?
Josh,
We're
can I say
seeing
something?
that the formula is getting old and stretched, and it's allowing us to enjoy actual movies that are great.
And that's why this movie is so special, because it's the only movie that managed to do it and did it well. You're saying that every other movie after it didn't do it is good. That's right, because this is the only movie that did it well. And it still manages to have an impact.
I would argue that Zack Snyder's Justice League was better than the Avengers.
It needed a fucking hashtag to save it. Hashtag Snyder Cut. That's what it needed to save it. Okay? This didn't need any of that crap. And if you know anything about the movies, if we're pulling other movies out of our ass, every other movie before it, Thor, Iron Man 2, Captain America, these films did not do that great.
No, they did not.
And still somehow they managed to make this movie amazing, and it did well in the box office.
Hype.
And it executed
it. Was a build up.
Josh,
right?
what is $1.5 billion to you?
Hype.
What is $1.5 billion? What is
hype.
that? It's execution. Execution, Josh. And it didn't. That's why we're watching it today. That's why we're debating it today. Because it still manages to have an impact on all of us, regardless of what you guys think, whether it's good, whether it's basement, whether it's mid. We're still talking about it. And Josh, if you know anything about good art, even if it divides people, you still talk about it.
Absolutely. That's why I continue to talk about Batman v Superman.
Which was not executed well.
Art. We know where the director's coming from. This movie right here, Avengers, we can argue we know where the director, Kevin Feige, was coming from. Absolutely. The formula that built up to this movie gave us the assumption of how great it was, unfortunately. It masked the flaws of this movie solely by hype. Okay?
Nope.
It did not allow anybody to enjoy any other movie out there. Okay, superhero movies that were non-Marvel related were
You're
not
talking
given
about how, like,
justice
it wasn't fair.
for
It
us to
wasn't
actually
fair.
enjoy.
That's not the point.
Absolutely,
That wasn't the point. This is not the point,
We wanted
Josh.
more. Give me more. Give me more Marvel. Give me more
And
humor.
is that not the
let
definition?
the director,
Is
let
that
the
not-
writers do their job.
Is that not the definition
and
of
give us
cultural
what
impact?
they believe in?
Is that not
believe
the
in?
definition of cultural impact? Is giving me more, and they did. So we got Infinity War. That's why we got Endgame. Movies that you've said are not better. They're not as good. Why? Because this movie still stacks up better than Endgame. Better than
this
Infinity
movie
War.
is. If you compare this movie to even Ultron, Civil War, Endgame,
I saw Ultron. That movie does not fucking hold up.
Infinity War. Okay, this movie is forgotten.
You would not have Infinity War without
would
this.
bet.
You would not have Infinity War without this. Say that that's true. Is that fair?
That you can do without it.
No,
Based
you can't.
off of me
No,
watching
you
this
can't.
twice
No,
in a
you
2-month
can't.
period. Thank you,
No,
Eric.
you can't.
I would
can't.
never watch this again.
You're lying
Literally.
yourself. You're lying yourself.
I'm here to talk
Josh.
about it
All
being
right.
in the basement.
All right,
It's in the
all right.
lying
basement.
to
Boys,
yourself.
put your shields and your hammers down. One sentence. Convince me.
Go ahead, Josh. You
I already had the first take. You talk about it right now.
One sentence, each of you.
My one sentence we're still talking about today. That's the definition of cultural impact.
There's a difference between enjoying
And
movies.
go ahead, say hype.
Don't put words in my mouth, Albert. Okay? There's a difference between enjoying movies, and if you are an enjoyer of movies, you're always going to talk about it. There's a difference. Okay? Unfortunately,
This is more than one sentence, by the way. What's your one sentence, man?
One sentence.
I said my one sentence, my statement. What is your statement?
This is a movie solely based on hype.
It's hype again, guys.
It rides the
There's
hype.
coattails of just shake your head, because it's actually a valid point, right?
No,
this
it's not.
movie does not exist without
'cause,
the previous
Josh, hold on,
movies.
hold on.
Are you going to let me talk about my sentence, or are you going to cut me off and correct me during
if it was all hype, it would have collapsed under the hype, and it didn't. It made $1.5 billion. What's hype about that? That's execution, Josh. Come on. Just come to the other side. Greatness. I have a spot waiting for you right here in greatness, Josh. Come on. You too, Eric. Come on. You want to be a winner? Let's go.
Yeah, Alberto, shots
Come
fired.
on.
Calling people out. Let's go.
This movie is it
All hype.
made us blind to the movies that came out that were great. It made us blind and wanting more to something just so simple and lazy and dumb, unfortunately.
It's not lazy and dumb.
The-
We're not talking about plot
Character
anymore.
development,
We're not talking about character
storyline.
development. We're not talking about storyline. We're talking about cultural impact, and it does have cultural impact.
Yeah, not in a good way. So absolutely,
I've said
to
my
your
piece.
point. To your point, cultural impact was not good at all.
You guys can't see this, but Alberto literally put down his mic. Mic dropped. All right. And we're done. Okay, for this round, Alberto, you are moving on. You will be facing Eric. And I think you made a strong argument why
Thank you. I appreciate that.
this
Sorry.
changed the comic world superhero industry, all the money that it brought in, how it stayed. It's been 12 years and we're still talking about it. The impact. You got Josh to say, like, every movie after that used their formula or tried to. So congratulations.
And I'm looking forward to debating you, Eric.
Okay, guys. So final round, we have Eric, who is team. What are you team?
I'm team mid, but
Team
very,
mid.
very low mid.
Low mid.
Okay.
And Alberto, you are team
Greatness.
greatness. Okay, so for this round, we will be debating iconic or non-iconic scenes and why they make or break this movie.
Okay.
And two of them. So we pick two scenes or iconic moments in the movie.
Okay. Eric, I'm gonna let you have this one. No, you go ahead.
I greatly appreciate that. Thank you very much. And by the way, I do appreciate your invitation to join the winner's circle. I would, but I'm already there because, fly Eagles fly, baby. So I already know what it's like to be a winner.
Okay.
So thank you for the invite, but I'm already there. So
That's fine. I know how it is to win too. I defeated that guy right there.
yeah.
So where's my ring at?
Well, I think for me, when I think about this question, it's very tough for me to find something that's iconic in terms of greatness, which I'm sure Alberto is going to share his piece about that. Where I automatically kind of think too is when this film finally kind of gets to where there's a lot of action going on and a lot of the cinematic explosions and relying on the CGI effects, I can't help but think about when they're fighting in the city, and particularly with Black Widow and Hawkeye, where Hawkeye, who's a man, Black Widow, who's also a woman, there's nothing about them that has power. They're not mutants. They're nothing. They're just people, right? And they do have like their abilities of being stealthy. But he's sitting on the top of a building just shooting arrows at thousands of enemies flying into a city that's populated with, 15 million people. And he's just endlessly shooting. And he's doing it with no pressure. There's no peril to his life. He's just standing there shooting endlessly. It's almost like, he's not going to die. There's no threat here. He's just kind of just doing his thing. And we're okay with that. We're just accepting that that's great. Like, that's a great filming a scene that is very important in the movie. It's the climax of the movie, and he's standing on a building shooting fucking arrows. And when they pan down into the street, or I think they maybe were in the street earlier, there's a scene where Black Widow she's got two pistols, and she's just shooting 2 pistols, like little, I don't know what they are. They look like 9mm. Like, you brought that to the fight? That's what you brought to the fight, and you're standing in the middle of the street, and you're comparing a world invasion of aliens to Beirut or whatever, wherever they were, some place. I probably said that wrong. My apologies. You can dock me, Judge. But they're literally just standing in the street, shooting pistols and arrows at thousands of enemy forces coming in, and it just doesn't deliver. It's very weak. It's very soft.
Yeah.
And and just Captain America is kind of by their side, throwing his shield, his iconic shield, and it just seems like I understand that shield is like an important part to who he is, and that's a major player to his weaponry. But like that's what I'm watching is a guy throwing a shield. She's got 2 pistols, and they're doing this like I'm playing a video game. It gives me, like, if you're playing Halo, you never have the feeling of death. You're the Master Chief. That's what that looked like visually, and it just doesn't resonate with me. I love moments in films where I think that the protagonists could be in peril at any time, and you just doesn't deliver that. You just know, you can see it from the beginning as it's unfolding. Like, well, they're not going to lose. They can just stand in the street. She's just going to unload endless clips. So I think about scenes like that, and
those are your 2 scenes.
That's one scene.
You brought up Hawkeye, and then
it's all kind of going on at the same time. This is all blended together at the end. At least that's how I feel.
I bring that up because those are 2 different scenes, and it makes me question whether or not you've seen the movie. Because the scene with Hawkeye is he's on top of a building, shooting arrows, not looking at what's going on or whatever. And then the other scene is Hawkeye also on the ground with Black Widow, and they're fighting the Chitauri. And he's like, "Oh, this is just like Budapest, right?" Those are the 2 scenes. So you already ran out of scenes, John or Eric. Those are 2 scenes, which makes me think: did you really watch the movie, or you were just focused on the little nitpicky parts?
No, that stood out to me. This is the climax of the movie, and I'm getting that on ground level, back to back.
Well, now let me talk about. It's a great image. Let me talk about my 2 favorite iconic scenes, and there's so much I can pull from. The one I'm going to pull from, though, first off, is in that same like 3rd act where they're all fighting and everything. It's the iconic shot. Everyone knows this at this point. It's the circling around every hero, right? You're seeing all the heroes, like Thor's grabbing his hammer, Captain America's got his shield, you got the Hulk like just getting ready to go, you got Iron Man plopping down. Like that is an iconic shot. Something that was replicated for other superhero movies after that point, that they tried to do that. Justice League trying to do it, it didn't work. Avengers Age of Ultron tried to redo that, it didn't really work. But that one shot in the first Avengers movie, iconic. Ask anybody who's seen the Avengers and tell them to pick an iconic shot. That's the one. That's what makes the movie. That's the shot that's shown through every retrospective, every review. People are, when they're talking about it, it's like right there. Fuck you too, Josh. And then the second shot.
Josh living rent free in his mind.
I'm gonna talk about the second shot, which is also one of my favorite moments because it involves my favorite character, which is Bruce Banner. He comes in on this like what's it, like that little scooter or whatever, really non-threatening. He's like this puny guy just coming in at the last minute. Everyone's all fucking like getting destroyed and shit like that, and then he sees that huge like floating alien coming at him. And what does Hulk or Bruce Banner say to Cap? "That's my secret, Cap. I'm always angry." And he just transforms into the Hulk, hits that fucking, like, that's the moment as an audience member for me when I was in the theater. Fucking chills down my spine. I was like The Rock doing that shit like that. Okay, that really got me when I saw that. All right, and
I know. I think it's great you brought that up. I found that to be maybe the most corny, cheesy part.
Not
of
the part that
the movie. One of them. He rolls in on a scooter. The world is ending, and he's riding down an avenue of New York City where there should be just chaos and rubble. You could not ride a little bike
that's the moment that
right
you're
in on the moment.
That's the moment that you're not. That's the moment you're focusing on the wrong moment, Eric. It's when he transforms into the Hulk for the second time, and you see him like just unleash.
Yeah, he seems to transform instantly, and I don't understand how he goes from like this.
Because he's mastered it. He says it to Cap. He says, that's my secret. I'm always angry, and that's how he's able to instantly transform. That's his secret. That's his secret power.
Yeah, I think it's diluted. I think with the Hulk, the slow burn, the struggle of him trying to keep that character internalized as he's mutating into the Hulk, I think that's just, we're rushing it at that point. We're just trying to throw him into the mix.
How are they rushing it?
He's just instantly turns into the Hulk. Like instantly. If you watch even earlier in the movie,
right,
with the first scene, I would argue that the first scene where he becomes the Hulk is a little bit more important because it speaks to about where you felt that Loki was really up to like his mischievous ways by using the Hulk as
getting in his head,
weapon.
like Josh, right? Like
getting in his head.
Right.
That was a little different because there was a build-up and anticipation. That part, would to me, speaks more iconic to like, okay, this is what they're dealing with.
So there is an
instead of
iconic
him.
scene.
I'm just saying, instead of him showing up last minute on a fucking moped.
Right. That's what I'm saying. He looks non-threatening. He looks like, what is he going to do? Like, well, how is he going to contribute to this fight? That's the moment.
What he's going to do.
That's the moment where you're going to be like, we know what's going to happen. We're going to see it coming, and you see that moment where he transforms, and we're about to see it right now. For those who are not listening or not watching, we're seeing that moment. Thank you, Josh. I think like you're adding more credibility to this iconic scene we're about to see here. And I think that's just what makes this movie. It makes it. We're talking about whether it makes it or breaks it. That's, I think, the moment that it makes the film. That's where this is the Avengers, baby. This is it. This is why it's called the Avengers. We're seeing the strongest Avenger taking down this one alien ship, and they're like, all right, now it's game on. At this point, they're going to be fine. They're going to take down the villain. It's all going to be like the upswing. This is like the dark night of the character moment. I don't know. I feel like I'm
you're really glazing at this point.
That's why it's greatness.
Yeah.
And there's the second. There it is right there.
Yeah, I think that this is just...
There it is right there. Those are the two iconic moments of the film.
It's easy to insert. It's lazy.
It's not lazy. It's not. It's earned. It's an earned moment where you finally get to see them team up together. This is the ensemble team that everybody's been wanting to see. So...
Well... Yeah, I just don't agree with that. This just feels very boring, very mid-tier. It's not climactic. It's anticlimactic.
Besides being rushed, what else did you not like about it?
Well, I just think it's corny. It's cheesy. There's nothing about it that it's predictable. I know that the Hulk, when you see him roll up on the moped, I know what's coming.
Do predictable moments not make for good iconic shots though? In superhero films,
I think if they're done well,
films?
I think if they're done well, okay.
Is this not done?
I don't think it's done that well.
This is done well. These are the moments you pull from when you're Googling the Avengers, even going back to Cultural Impact. But that's the last topic. That's what really makes this film, are those two iconic moments.
So standing in a circle.
It's that shot, seeing everyone coming together and finally assembling. Avengers assemble, right? That's that moment.
I cringed a little bit.
I don't know. I think you're lying to yourself to it. I don't think you were.
I think it was cringy. I just did not deliver. That scene, there's nothing about that scene that delivered. It felt very predictable. Oh, there they are. The good guys are here. We know who's going to win.
That's what makes it iconic.
Yeah.
That's we're talking about iconic moments. That is iconic moments. So, I have yet to see you talk about more about your scenes. I feel like
I tried to, but you said mine were two scenes when I don't really think they were. I felt like they were a little bit kind of riding on each other's heels, kind of going into each other. I just don't. I don't buy
nitpicking stuff.
I don't buy scenes where you've got a guy that turns into a green monster, the Hulk, Iron Man flying out in a suit, and you have two characters on ground level with a pistol and a bow and arrow. It's just not. It isn't cool. There's nothing cool about it. There's nothing amazing about it. It is
We're talking about if it makes or breaks the film.
It dilutes the quality of what you're talking about. It just completely dilutes it.
I don't think it dilutes it at all. I think these are two characters that have earned moments in those scenes that you're talking about. We're finally seeing them basically like unleashed to their full potential. And that just, it's still, we got to remember it's a comic book movie. You got to take your suspense of belief just a little bit.
Right. Well, it's just
So
filler.
I'm noticing that both of you guys picked the ending. What
Towards
about in the
end,
beginning?
yeah.
What about
Towards the
beginning? Is
beginning?
it maybe a movie that just has a good ending?
No, I can we talk? Yeah, let's talk about another scene that's
Go ahead, start.
towards the beginning. How about Iron Man's introduction when he comes in and saves Captain America from Loki? Plays AC/DC, Shoot to Thrill, comes in with all these fucking like weapons on him, and he's just like, you see these two heroes, two of the full cast of the Avengers coming together. That like music drop. Perfect. That's also another one that you can search up on YouTube, and it's like has millions of views because people remember that. That's a moment that makes the film as well. What about a moment for you?
They had to bring him in.
Or-
Well, okay, yeah. I think when you talk about that scene, I think Black Widow flies in first, and you know that she's just a weak character, so we're just kind of filling in and buying time. And then you fly in Iron Man, and they're playing AC/DC, and that just felt like the tackiest thing I'd ever seen in my life.
Well, that's the scene I chose. What about?
I mean, was he
playing?
It sounded like he was maybe playing the music from his suit.
No, it was the PA speakers.
Oh,
that
the
he
PA. So
hijacked it,
they kick on the PA speakers. He gets done rounding up a group of people and telling them to kneel, and they're like fearing for their lives. And a superhero flies in playing AC/DC through the streets. Like that's
iconic. That's Iron Man.
I mean,
Like, was that not like when I was going back to the beginning about how like you play the theme songs for each character? You're also seeing like the music that they use for each film. For Iron Man, they used a lot of AC/DC music drops. That was also like telling you like, oh shit, Iron Man's here. That's all you needed. He didn't even have to say much like any lines in that scene if you really wanted to, because that was like a mic drop moment to see
just a
Iron
mic
Man
drop.
show up.
So they're just relying on what he was doing in the first movie.
No, this is different. This is something that he does originally for this film.
Oh, okay. I mean, it just didn't move me. I thought it was just kind of, again, it was just boring, plain, little corny.
I've yet to hear
predictable.
you.
Like, it just
I've
felt
yet
like-
to hear you pick a scene.
Well, I tried it. Yeah, okay.
In the beginning, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I described earlier, I don't feel like there was many iconic scenes for me that stood out except for that at the end of the movie. That's it. Like, there really was nothing else that stood out except that at the end where I'm trying to watch this climactic ending and we have two people that don't really fit in. Like, they're just kind of forcing them in there and I don't understand it.
Eric, you have to. It's a comic book film. You have to suspend your sense of belief just a little bit. Once you do that, and once you take it for what it is, then you really start to enjoy it. You forget about the fact that, like, oh, she's not. Well, technically, she wouldn't really actually stand a chance against these. Like, who gives a fuck? This is a comic book movie. It earned its right to be here. It's earned its right to have these characters fight these enemies. It doesn't matter about these little nitpicky things and like, oh, was it a 9mm that he used? I don't know if he used that. Like, it does not matter.
I'm just highlighting
Those
that
moments-
because we've got a guy that turns into a Hulk, smashing people into smithereens, and she's out there shooting a 9mm.
She's contributing. That's what I look at it.
Contributing. All right.
She is still part of the Avengers, man. That's the whole thing. I think that you're focusing easily on the two characters that are like the weakest. You're not talking about Iron Man or Thor or about Captain
Hey, you're
America.
as strong as
like
your weakest
any of
link,
those things.
Alberto. You're as strong as your weakest link.
I never said they're weakest though. I said you said
You
that
just
they're
said
the
they were
weakest.
that I'm focusing on the weakest characters.
You said I said you are focusing. I don't think that they're
okay.
weak. I think that they're all the strongest. That's why they're the Avengers. So they all have their own.
You guys should really be looking at Josh's face right now.
Josh is just browsing
rolling.
Netflix.
Well,
so-
Josh
Wants
is
to
just being
say
a
something
hater.
right now. You could just see.
Josh being a hater because he's not in this fight anymore.
Anyways, like I said, it's a comic book film. You have to suspend your sense of belief just a little bit. It earned its right to have these character moments. It earned its right to have these iconic shots like the Hulk destroying the Chitauri ship or seeing that circled shot with all the Avengers. Like those are the iconic moments. That is what makes the Avengers. It doesn't break it. It makes it. Those are like no one else talks about the scenes you're pointing out and say like that's what broke it for me. You're the only one who's doing that, which is fine because that's your own opinion. But for me personally, like that is what makes makes the film. Those two scenes.
Well, this is
now 3 scenes.
That's why we're
so.
embracing the debate. I just think it's a mid-level tier, very predictable. I think that the iconic scenes are, as Josh would say, I like his phrase, lazy and dumb. And I think you could have done a much better service to the fans by maybe cutting some of that out and...
Cutting the fan servicey parts out?
No, that's not... I'm saying do the fans a service and give them more Hulk a little bit. Give them more of it, but not so...
This is the best
riding
Hulk we
in
got.
on a moped.
Arguably every other Hulk
That
after
was
it
just
was not
silly.
as good.
It's just silly. Like, where is Hulk? Where is he? I mean, this guy crashed and wrecked God knows where, and then he comes in on a moped.
Well, I can only talk about my experience in seeing this movie in the movie theater and seeing that moment, and how much I even heard not just me, like everyone else felt that moment.
But I'm speaking from my own experience. I saw it in the theater too, and I saw it one time in the movie theaters.
Yeah,
forgot that I watched it again, and it was like I was begging for the movie to end.
Well, you're not a huge fan of superhero films to begin with, so I don't really take too much stock in your opinion, anyways, Josh or Eric. Sorry.
Josh
Whoa.
living rent free.
Josh is living rent free, and I mean,
But still,
I guess
I feel like that's, if we're talking about my own personal experience, that's what I felt was the most, like the moments that stuck out that made the film for me.
He decided to get nasty.
Hey, look,
And
you can
say that
end
I
up,
don't like superhero
It's
movies.
fine,
That's not
Eric.
true.
If you want to be a winner vicariously living through a football team, that's fine. I'm actually going to reap the rewards for defeating this fucking guy 0-3. That's a real winner right there, buddy.
Okay.
So,
Self-proclaimed winner. I have yet to
Self-proclaimed.
make my decision.
sorry. I just saying. So,
I'm just giving an objective opinion. I'm stuck with mid. I don't think it's in the basement like Josh said.
why?
I think that Robert Downey Jr. carried the movie pretty well with his dialogue, his character a little bit. I think he was an attractive character because he actually had some wittiness and he has funny lines and he does have good acting skills. I think Chris
That
Evans...
weren't corny to you?
No, I think his were less corny because he can actually play the role well. Whereas I think Chris Evans is a little bit of like a boring, straight-edged, a little bit of black and white, a little uptight. Like
What other things made
he's
the
got a
movie?
wedgie up his ass. You know, I think
Any other positives that you...
No, I'm just saying, like, I think that I think Robert Downey Jr. carried the movie to where it was tolerable. Absolutely, I think his character, like I said, he's actually an actor in this movie. Mark Ruffalo plays Hulk, dude.
Fantastic actor.
I mean, he's a good actor. I don't think he's a guy that I think about that should be playing a prominent role.
Then why didn't they give it
He
to
doesn't
Edward
have
Norton?
that kind of ego. I don't know. They've gone through 3 of them, man. They had
Who's the third one?
They had Eric Bana.
Oh,
they
Eric
had
Bana, yeah, that's right.
Old boy, what was his name? And the Incredible Hulk.
Right. I feel like now we're veering
Edward
a little
Norton.
bit off.
Anyway,
but
you asked
yeah.
me, and I'm just
Sorry,
telling
yeah,
you. I
I
think
just-
that Robert Downey Jr.
fine.
Carried the movie a little bit. I think his character.
Well,
So.
I'll say I said my piece. So
Okay, and when we come back, we will have our winner. All right, and that's it for today's debate. We did all 5 rounds, and I'm excited to announce that Team Greatness fought hard, and they won this battle royale.
man, I wish I had the round of applause button pressed, but yeah. Final words, guys. Going with you, Edgar.
Bonesaw wasn't ready this time.
No, you were not. You were not,
No, that's my final words.
Josh.
You know, I'll take my loss. You can have this, Alberto. I've seen what you've done and what you've changed, and I'm going to have to obviously adapt. And believe me, I'm going to be fucking ready next time.
That's what you always say. All right, Eric. What is your final word? What's your final say?
I just really appreciated the opportunity to have that final debate with you and really discuss how mediocre the film was and the lack of dialogue and balls and has no sack. And I think that it's grossly overrated. And I am just blown away that this would even fall into a category of greatness. And I think that these films have... Now they've kind of just diluted the industry and the market, and it's okay though. Like you said, $1.5 billion, and go Birds.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, we're not going to end it on Go Birds because I today am the winner this time. Eric, I'm sorry that you are just going to stay in mid and you, my friend, are going to stay in basement. Edgar, I don't know where the fuck you were. But thank you guys for listening, and special thanks to our referee, our guest referee for this episode, Lady. Thank you for joining us. Hopefully it wasn't too chaotic of a debate.
No, this was a lot of fun, and at the end, it was very difficult. Once we got to the third round, I had a hard time picking. And you know, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I watched this movie, and like I said in the beginning, I'm not a fan of movies. I'm not a fan of Marvel or DC or either. I watched it yesterday, and I was with Eric. I'm like, this is mid, and you know, Alberto, you made some really strong arguments as to why it's greatness. I still think it's mid.
That's fine.
But you did a great job debating and proving and sticking by your guns.
I appreciate that. Thank you for being a part of the podcast. And all I'd say now is go Broncos.